You ever have one of those weeks where you come home expecting nothing but peace, and instead, you find your whole world flipped upside down by people who think rules only apply to everyone else? Yeah, that was me. Chris Bryan, just a regular guy with a few scars from too many years in army boots and a stubborn belief that your home should be your sanctuary. But let me back up a sec, because the day this story starts, I was just tired. Bone tired, Denver traffic tired, longing for my porch tired. And I sure as hell wasn't prepared for the circus that had set up shop on my land. I turned onto that last stretch of dirt road, gravel crunching under the tires, thinking about nothing but cold beer and my old creaky recliner. Then I saw it. A massive HOA banner strung across my front gate, red, white, and blue streamers fluttering like they'd annexed my house for the 4th of July. Balloons everywhere, tied to my fence, my mailbox. Hell, even the private property, no trespassing sign had a ribbon on it. I stopped the truck in the middle of the road, just staring, brain refusing to believe what my eyes were seeing. I rolled forward slow, heart thumping. And then it got weirder. There were folding tables set up all over my front yard, red and blue tablecloths flapping, coolers stacked, folding chairs in rows like they'd booked the place for a county fair. My porch had a giant birthday banner, "Happy Birthday, Lieutenant Doley," strung across it like this was his personal clubhouse. My personal damn porch. I slammed the truck door, boots hitting gravel, and followed the sound of voices. At least 15 people in the backyard, some hauling a party tent toward my fire pit, others rolling out a red carpet up the steps like this was Hollywood. And at the center of it all stood Karen Doley, the queen of the HOA, clipboard in hand, visor tight on her helmet hair, giving orders like a 4-star general. "Karen," I said, not exactly friendly. She just looked at me, all chipper, like I was the help. "Wonderful you're here. We were a little worried you'd miss setup." "Setup for what?" I asked, though God knows I already hated the answer. She waved her arms, all pageantry. "It's the birthday celebration for my son, Lieutenant Mason Doley. We reserved your space for the day." "My space? My house?" I just blinked. She explained, with a smile so fake it hurt to look at, that she'd submitted a reservation on the city website, that it was zoned for recreational community use. The HOA had voted, 100 guests were expected, and apparently my land was now the local rec center. It's unmarked land. Chris, no fence, no signage. Come on, have you ever even flown an American flag out here? You know what I mean? The gall. I tried to explain, calmly. My name's on the deed. This isn't a community lot, and no, I didn't give permission for a 100-person rager on my porch. Some young HOA volunteer muttered about patriotism while stacking cupcakes, and Karen just rolled right over me. "You're a veteran, my son's a veteran. It's a celebration in the spirit of service. You should be honored." I told her flat out. "Clear it off, 5 minutes, or I start hauling your stuff into the road." Karen's smile evaporated. "You're being hostile." "I'm being calm," I said. "But that changes fast when people break into my home." She started threatening escalation, city, law enforcement, the works. "Call them," I said. She already had, she said. Told them I was a squatter, that she had authorization, that I was obstructing a veterans gathering. I marched to my truck, grabbed my binder, deed, plat, taxes, everything. Stood in the driveway and let 'em all know. "Private property. You're trespassing. You've got 10 minutes before you're removed by the authorities." Some folks hesitated, others kept unloading drinks. Karen shouted at them not to be intimidated. And then, sure enough, the first patrol car rolled up, dust in its wake. 2 officers stepped out. One older, built like he'd seen every HOA dispute in the book, the other young, already tired of life. Karen marched up, pointed at me, called me a hostile squatter impersonating the property owner. The older cop came over, asked if this was my residence. I handed him the deed, county docs, tax receipts, the works, and told him I owned this land, free and clear, not under HOA jurisdiction. Karen tried to produce some usage request she'd submitted online, cited some half-baked open space ordinance she'd found on Google. I raised an eyebrow. "Since when does that let you throw a 100-person party on someone's lawn?" The officer checked my papers, then turned to her. "Ma'am, do you have any legal documentation, rental agreement, event permit?" She started to stammer. I could see her grip slipping. The officers started dispersing the crowd. Karen hissed threats about regretting how I treat veterans, said the media would hear of this. I almost laughed. You mean they'll hear how you hijacked a veteran's home for your own party and called the cops when he showed up? She doubled down, called 911 again right in front of everyone, tried to report me for inciting a riot. The older cop shut that down cold, told her filing a false police report was a crime. It should have ended there, but you know how people like Karen operate. That's when my backup rolled in, a gray Ford SUV, black pickup with veteran plates. Rob, retired sheriff, came out first, calm as a Sunday morning, Ben next, legal eagle, briefcase in hand, Anthony last. Army intel, never missed a thing. Karen tried her usual routine on them, but Rob just flashed his badge, Ben handed over my deed, zoning maps, and, here's the twist, a printed email from the HOA's internal chat. Karen had written, Chris Bryan hasn't explicitly refused. I'll proceed with setup and frame it as a veterans community event. He won't cause a scene. Busted. Anthony pulled out a stack of prior complaints. Turns out Karen had repurposed other neighbors' land before. This was a pattern. About half the guests started packing up, murmuring apologies. The diehards stayed, looking at Karen for instructions. But then her son, Mason, showed up, young, in uniform, just in from base. She tried to spin it, but Mason cut her off, said he'd gotten her email, and the one where she told her friend, Chris won't know what hit him. She'd CC'd him by mistake. Mason apologized to me, said he was sorry his name got dragged into her stunt. Even the diehards started backing away. Karen's last act was to lunge at me, screaming, trying to shove me backward, like that'd ever work. Rob restrained her, the officers cuffed her, neighbors filmed it all, and I watched the mighty queen of the HOA dragged off my porch, still shrieking threats. You'd think that'd be the end, but Karen doesn't go down easy. The next 2 days were a storm, paperwork, filings, restraining orders, evidence piling up. Turns out Karen had been involved in 3 previous land disputes, paid contractors in cash to tear down neighbors' sheds, move property lines, you name it. Her past caught up fast. Then her lawyer came, tried to buy me off, formal apology, pay for damages, you drop the complaint. I just smiled. Then he threatened, emotional distress, counterclaims. I didn't blink. Ben called it. The county had assigned the toughest judge in the region. Anthony found logs showing Karen had been snooping on my land at night. And then, here's the kicker. He found a microphone buried in my fence post. Surveillance. Audio logs pinged from Karen's house. Rob's friend from the sheriff's office got a search warrant. They found her router, plans for lounge seating, everything. She was engineering a takeover. But the final blow came from Mason, her own son. He gave a sworn affidavit, admitted his mother had threatened him too, said he was done defending her. In court, Karen came in strutting like a peacock, sunglasses on, surrounded by board members and her lawyer. The judge didn't buy a word of it. We had drone footage, emails, body cam, Mason's testimony. The judge asked if Karen was denying the allegations. Her lawyer tried, but when Anthony pulled up a spreadsheet showing thousands in HOA funds diverted to her home, chairs, catering, all billed to the community, her lawyer literally asked to withdraw from the case. Karen stood there, pale and alone. By Friday, Karen was charged with trespassing, harassment, wiretapping, misuse of HOA funds, and filing false police reports. She got 10 years in state prison, no early release for 4, and the HOA was forced to restructure. Anthony, my old friend, got asked to serve as interim president, but only if my land was permanently excluded from any HOA jurisdiction. Signed, notarized, airtight. Mason moved out, started teaching high school mechanics. Karen? Well, she's got time to reflect. As for me, I spent Sunday on my porch, coffee in hand, rifle leaning lazy on the railing, a new private property, no HOA sign staked where the balloons once fluttered. The wind was calm. No cars, no drama, just the sound of the trees. So, who was right? Who was wrong? What does community really mean when one person tries to control it all? That's the question. Maybe you've seen this play out in your neighborhood. Maybe you've lived it. I'd love to hear what you think. Drop a comment below. Tell me your HOA horror stories or what justice means to you. And if you ever find a parade on your porch, don't back down. Sometimes the line has to be drawn, right in your own front yard.